solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales, woo! Every day they're out there making DuckTales, woo! Tales of daring, do that, and DuckTales. Danger lurks behind you. There's a stranger out to find you. What to do? Just grab onto some DuckTales, woo! Every day they're out there making DuckTales, woo! Tales of daring, do bad, and good DuckTales, woo! Not ponytails or cotton tails, no DuckTales, woo!
Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions.
Change into digital champions to save the digital world.
Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions.
Digivolve into champions. Digivolve into ultimate.
Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Our hearts so true, our courage will pull us through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon.
secrets that it hid. Now he's got superpowers, he's no ordinary kid, he's Ben 10. So if you see him, you might be in for a big surprise. He'll turn into an alien before your very eyes. He's slimy, freaky, fast and strong, he's every shape and size, he's Ben 10. All the powers, he's on the case, fighting off evil from Earth or space. He'll never stop till he gets the pay, 'cause he's the baddest kid to ever save the day. Ben 10. Go again, no, no, go till we stop, and then we'll shop. So 1, 2, 3 now, baby, here we go. Here we go, here we go. On a mission undercover and we're in control. Here we go, here we go. Totally spice and get on with the show. Here we go, here we go, here we go.
Is an average kid that no one understands. Mom and Dad and Vicky always giving him commands. Doom and gloom up in his room is broken instantly. Eyes magic little fish who grab his every wish, 'cause in reality they are his odd parents, fairly odd parents.
Wands and wings, floaty crowny things.
Odd parents, fairly odd parents. Really mod, deep mod, love mod, hot rod.
Juice, rubber goose, green rose, guava juice, giant steak, birthday cake, large rice, chocolate shake.
Odd parents, fairly odd parents. They let you live when you were a kid with fairly odd parents.
Yeah, right.
5 o'clock, get a call to go blading at the skate park down by the mall. But my mom says I gotta prevent hostile aliens from annihilating us all. With the strength of 1,070 men, I guess I really shouldn't complain. Still, I wish I could go for a walk without rusting in the rain. It's enough to fill my brain. So welcome to my life as a teenage robot. The story of my life as a teenage robot. My teenage robot life.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm your basic average girl, and I'm here to save the world. You can't stop me 'cause I'm impossible. There is nothing I can't do. You in danger 'cause just know that I am on my way. It doesn't matter where or when there's trouble. If you just call my name, impossible. Call me, beat me if you wanna reach me. When you wanna page me, it's okay. Whenever you need me, baby. Call me, beat me if you wanna reach me. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when. I will be there for you till the very end. Danger or trouble, I'm there on the double. You know that you always can call impossible.
So what's the sitch?
Call me, beat me if you wanna reach me.
Hey everybody, hello. Oh man, okay. So some of those were mine, some of those were not mine. As far as like cartoons I grew up with, I threw in some stuff from the 2000s for some of you younger watchers there that are in their like late 20s or mid 20s. Probably grew up watching something like Phineas and Ferb and some Kim Possible and shit like that when you were a little kid. As far as like the early, like, you know, 2006, 2007, that kind of bullshit. Some of the other ones I played at the beginning though, that was like late 90s shit. You know, you got some Disney Afternoon, you got, you know, everything you can think of. I of course was a huge fan of Invader Zim. I did like in the 2000s I liked Teen Titans, and I did like Invader Zim quite a bit. I think I watched, yeah, because like by the time these came out, I was quite a bit older. You know, I'm like already like 19 or 20. I got into watching some of these 2000s cartoons because of my first kid, and so like some of this stuff was still around, and you know, the seasons are still going. Like I didn't really like grow up on too much SpongeBob, but like my older daughter definitely did. She's 13, so she grew up on some plenty of SpongeBob and stuff like that. So I've seen plenty. I still have a deep appreciation for just silly ass cartoons with stupid stories and fun little concepts. But yeah, it was just an interesting one. I think for me, a huge thing I grew up around in, you know, when I was, if we're talking early 90s, yeah, still watching a lot of cartoons, but there was all that kind of more like 90s edge, like, you know, the edgy hero, that kind of stuff. So you had, of course, you know, a lot of different superheroes. You had more edgy cartoons in the 90s. They weren't that edgy, but it's like that 90s edgy of like, you know, Wolverine and X-Men. I know you guys like probably been watching the new one that basically is just like a continuation of the original 90s X-Men cartoon. It's actually quite good. It's not bad at all. But yeah, X-Men 92 is pretty good. And yeah, but point is, you know, edgy in the 90s cartoons wise was like Wolverine saying, "I'm gonna slice you, bub," you know, stuff like that. And then you had you know, Batman Beyond, which was like, you know, younger, hipper, moody future Batman. Bruce Wayne's all old and rickety, and he's just like, "Why do I even have to save people?" I'm like, "It's not my responsibility." You know, that kind of like edginess hero. So, and then of course the intros are always like really, they use like a lot of rock and weird, like cheesy guitar solos and shit. Like if anybody was old enough for the original Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s, you know, it's just like every like intro is like, especially the ones with superheroes, and they tried to be like more like edgy. Like they were all like, they always had guitar, shit like that. it just depends on what you grew up on. I grew up watching X-Men. I grew up watching X-Men '92, one of my favorites. I watched all the X-Men cartoons that came after Evolution and Wolverine and X-Men. Wolverine and X-Men was all right. Evolution I didn't like. Um, but yeah, there was some interesting stuff there, to say the least. But I guess my point of today's stream is because what I asked was about cartoons or shows that some of the schizoids on the server grew up watching. And so some of you might be thinking, oh, that's a stupid subject, Angst. Who the fuck cares? We're already adults. We grew out of that shit. I'm watching adult stuff like anime and Game of Thrones. I'm a big boy now. And well, if that's how you feel, then you're stupid. But I don't know, that's not really. But yeah, I thought I was thinking kind of deeply earlier this week about just a lot of nostalgia stuff. I brought it up on Tuesday about a video game that really had an impact on me as a kid called Rocket Knight Adventures. And it just in general, there's just this kind of there's something there, right? There's something kind of important there. And it does have to do with a lot of the schizoid stuff. And you might be thinking, but how, Inks? How? What are the Saturday morning cartoons I grew up watching and loved so dearly at one point, and maybe now feel nothing about? It have to do with me now and all the cool emptiness and such. Well, I'll try to explain. Now, this might be a bit of one of those more schizo-y, loose associative things, but hey, man, I am what I am. But I'll try my best to keep it kind of grounded and use some good metaphors or something if they need to come up. But the thing was this, okay? So as you guys remember, a long time ago, I think it's over 2 years now, I had done, about 2 years or a year and a half, I don't remember, when I did that interview with, or that talk with Eleanor Greenberg, something had come up that was really important to me, and stayed being important to me, and that was Eleanor reminded me about my love of Spider-Man as a kid. And she brought up, she said, and I don't know why this is what popped into her head, probably because of, 40 plus years of psychology. I was talking about like Spider-Man, how I grew up with it, and then she said, is that what you're trying to do now, Angst? Are you trying to be Spider-Man? And I remember when she said that, like, it just like I was kind of left speechless. Because, like the normal, some assumed thing would be to be like, well, I'm not Spider-Man, that's dumb, that's kid stuff, right? But when she asked me that, like being the introspective motherfucker that I am, I immediately paused and thought about it. Am I trying to be Spider-Man? And, it was so strange to be able to ask that question to myself internally and come up with the answer of, maybe I am trying to be Spider-Man. And what Spider-Man is, and how it impacted me, and how it might have like tuned into certain moral intuitions of mine. You are Horthus, but Horthus is many things. Horthus is Saturday morning cartoons as well, just like all of us. So, and so that goes into a slightly deeper question. Is were these things part of who and what we were? Because one could just dismiss it and say, oh, they were just stupid, entertaining cartoons that I thought were fun as a kid, but I was just a stupid kid and I didn't know anything about the world and I hadn't learned yet anything. And I was just a dumb, naive kid just being fucking distracted by bright colors on a screen. Like, you could be all super fucking pessimistic or whatever about it, but I can't take that position, because for me, I have some of my strongest memories are nostalgia. But I'm not even talking about strong memories like, oh, I really like that show, it's really cool, guys. I could say that, but there was like some really strong kind of impacts on what bits of self I was able to kind of piece together over the years, with a lot of that stuff that I was trying to sort of mirror, right? And then I was thinking about it a little bit further, and I'm like, well, if like what I'm always talking about is if the schizoid is some neurodivergent person that just grew up without anything to mirror and or nothing to have their sense of self or what parts of themselves they were trying to create get validated or understood or and they were nurtured, you know. We had to do this solo dolo, right? We had to like figure out some of this stuff on our own. We're humans, regardless of our differences, and we need stuff to mirror. We needed, as we investigated what we were and why we existed as little people, as little children, we were like, what is good and what is bad? Am I good? Am I bad? And all we had was the real world, which oftentimes did not reflect anything we had inside, especially as a neurodivergent kid. It's just a lot of it just didn't make too much sense and it wasn't applicable. And bringing it up wasn't the solution because that failed multiple times for many of us. And so we had to turn to media. We had to turn to cartoons. We had to turn to comic books. We had to turn to video games as children. Now, before things like cartoons and everything, I'm guessing children were turning that were like this. They're probably turning to things like books and stories and local legends and whatever else, right? Heroes of the past that have been talked about or something, right? They were trying to latch on to something, to try and mirror something that can actually, like, they can look out into the world that's external and it might make a little more sense than what is surrounding them. And what's interesting too is most cartoons in many ways are kind of devoid, for the sake of the narrative, they're oftentimes devoid of social complexities, right? There's just like ideas and they're being played with and jokes. If it's a cartoon joke show like a Fairly Odd Parents, then you're building humor, a sense of absurdity, everything else around it. If you watched superhero shows or action shows, you were seeing stories of characters doing what they thought was right, and sometimes they were mistakes, and sometimes they did the wrong thing and had to like own up to it. All this sort of stuff. And then I think, well, along the way, the schizoid grows up. They hit the old Erickson stage 5, especially, and then shit just goes downhill real quick, and the world stops making sense, right? That age 12, 13, 14, the world stops making more sense and more sense. And things that were in your cartoons and everything else, they just don't align anymore with the world you now inhabit, like they could have prior to a lot of the early teen socialization that seems to intuitively take place in most people. And so yeah, a lot of those thoughts, a lot of those feelings, along with everything else that makes the person or attempted to develop as a person, even though they were kind of a little bit rigged from the start, that a lot of that gets forgotten, or the cynicism sort of starts creeping in, and the disappointment starts just kind of erasing some stuff, and you almost start questioning those earlier stages of development that you weren't even aware were occurring when you hit that point. And a lot is forgotten, and a lot is disassociated from further and further. And a lot of it's just in your internal world and never actively expressed. And if it was probably neglected or dismissed. But my point is, there's something about us, even if it's seemingly lost to time, that was incredibly important about what cartoons we watched and why we watched them. What video games you played and why you played them. What books or stories you read and why you read them. There's something to really dig into there and question and ask. And it might have shaped to a significant degree what little you've been able to piece together up till now. but there might be more hints, more clues in it. That's what I'm saying. And I really now understand what it means to still, as a almost 40-year-old man this August, still something of an inner child that wants to be Spider-Man, in my case, right? It wants to be that character that does the right thing, even though everyone's saying he's a bad guy, or he's stupid, or crazy, or a criminal, or this or that. Like Spider-Man. He didn't stop. He just kept going. And his life was terrible, including in the comics, because I read those plenty as a kid. But I admired that, even if I didn't understand it. And I think there's some of those elements in a lot of what we grew up in. There's little hints of what it is about life that even as children we appreciated. And maybe not about our external life, because sometimes that was pretty empty, but something about our, at least our internal world and our internal version of what we have found in the world that we do like, that we can appreciate, even if it's in a vacuum. Because, you know, the real world with all its social fun times, you know, does not live in the same vacuum that a cartoon lives in. Right. The most complex storyline you're going to see in a cartoon for the ages of 10 and under, you know, is going to be like somebody said something mean to somebody and they felt bad and wanted to apologize for the mistake they made. Or somebody hurt a superhero because they got greedy or jealous or selfish. Like, that's as complex as it got, right? A lot of the gray area of the social world was not quite hitting us in the face like a frying pan. And yeah, that's enough, I think, of an introduction to this subject. And so I asked the Zoids on the server, I asked them, what cartoons did you grow up on? What cartoons did you grow up on? Why were they important to you then, if you can recollect? And if they're no longer important to you, why do you think that may be? Right. And knowing the schizoids, as well as I hope I do, they're usually, if they're either going to give no reason, just going to say what it was, and not give a reason, not answer that second portion because it might be too intimate, or who knows, maybe they don't even know. Or they're actually going to think on it. They're going to go, yeah, why is it so important to me? I look back on it, oh, it kind of is. Why? And that's an important question to ask. So, in the case of, because I know since you're listening, Horthus, it's that thing you brought up before, that like, even though you got the cynicism and the pessimism and the disappointment and the ambivalence and everything else, there's still something that makes you, how do you like to say it? Save the dying of the light, I believe it is that you phrased it as, Horthus. And what if that, or some part of that, was created or nurtured by even cartoons that resonated with us as little neurodivergent kids? Right? I'm not saying only neurodivergent kids are affected by these things, that they grow up on these cartoons. Absolutely not. But I have a feeling neurodivergent kids are probably more affected by them because they are usually in an environment that is not really making them thrive in the best ways possible. And oftentimes that's never an intentional thing, especially, well, now that people know, it's just ignorance, intentional ignorance. But now there's a, you know, there's some understanding when it comes to this stuff. So there is some nurturing that can exist outside of, say, you know, watching Darkwing Duck or X-Men 92 or something. But all right, so I'm gonna get straight. There's nobody here to jump on with me, but I guess everyone's busy this Saturday, and that's perfectly fine. Let me just do something really quick here. I'm going to be looking at the submissions. So I had asked that question and I got a few submissions. I haven't looked at them. I do not read the usernames. I just read them and react. So let's see what we have for this day. And this over here on the right is just in case somebody decides they want to hop in, talk about the subject or any other subject really, or something that maybe triggers a memory, an association to this subject. There's a lot there. There's a lot there to think about. I don't think I'm just grasping at straws for like, you know, an idea or something. I've been like actually deeply thinking about this for the last few days. Like I was thinking about like, why is it when I think back at Rocket Knight or other things that had like I used to fantasize and imagine when I was a kid, why is there still like some kind of feeling there when so much of what I experience today as an adult, even with media I like, doesn't quite have that same feeling? What happened? What was lost? Anyway, let me see here. So for the first submission from the Zoid Void Schizoid server, and I only have a few, sadly. I wish I would get more, but I got a handful. That's about it. Here we go. Okay, dear Angst, I don't always get to watch. Oh wait, that's something else. Oh yeah, I don't always get to watch your streams, but I'm currently listening to your Tuesday stream regarding nostalgia. Yes. When I was growing up, my parents had what you folks in America would call cable. I had 3 different kids' channels to choose from. In the beginning, I loved Marvel cartoons, like Spider-Man and X-Men. Then my friend group at school got me into Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. My favorite of all time has to be Digimon, and I'm pretty sure my current interest in anime can be blamed because of Digimon. It was an incredible series. Characters were fleshed out, had arcs. They had something a little more than Pokemon series. Honorable mentions go to lesser known shows like Biker Mice from Mars, familiar, and Centurions. I too spent my childhood watching these cool cartoons and playing video games, reading comics. I also used to daydream and write a lot. My creativity was amazing and I miss it. I am trying to find a way to get it back, but sadly, I feel like adult life has dulled this aspect of my life. That reminds me of that thing I had mentioned, I think, on the Tuesday stream, and I'm trying to get some of it back. And I think I can now that I'm been working on this shit for a while on myself, you know. Yeah, I was thinking about how like they used to do a lot more. Even in my 20s, I used to do a lot more just cool like thoughts and listen to music and imagine my own little music videos in my head, and they were pretty vivid and everything. And I could still do that now, but I don't really find all that much enjoyment in it. And I'm like, where did the enjoyment go? I could find it. And that's something I'm trying to get back. I think the weight of having to adapt and interact with the real world in a very real way for as long as I have, and the years of masking and everything, I think they've taken a significant toll on some of that. But so I feel this person when they say they miss that creativity, they miss the joy maybe, or the good feeling that came with being creative. Right, because just being creative with no enjoyment coming from it is kind of, it's a very bittersweet situation. All right, let me see here. Did you guys type anything? I just want to double check. I haven't been looking at chat at all. Oh, it's so hot in here. I fucking hate it. Yo, Laverne, what's up? Okay. Every time I see Laverne, I just think of something else I grew up with, which was Ernest, I think it was. Ernest was like this just goofy character guy. Hey, Vern! You know, he used to talk like that. And there was like a character they never showed that he would talk to called Vern, I think it was. Not Laverne. It might have been short for that, but I don't know. But it was Ernest. And I remember one movie in particular that I watched so much on VHS because it combined stupidity, absurdity, but also some cool practical effects and like gross out humor with monsters. And that was a movie called Ernest Scared Stupid. Ernest Scared Stupid. It was Ernest fighting trolls that were Ernest joins the military. There's that too. But Ernest Scared Stupid was my favorite because he fought supernatural trolls with milk. So and I just I don't know. Something was really fun for me as a kid with that one. Let me see here. Let's go to the next one. Captain N. Oh, dear Angst. Captain N, the Game Master, has to be probably number 1. That's a fucking good one. Gotta say. I mean, like, you look at it now, it's hella dated. And they did a lot of that shit where, like, it was like Americans trying to, like, make a cartoon version of, like, a Japanese-made, like, video game character, like Mega Man and such. And yeah, they butcher it, but as an American kid, you didn't have access to things like anime or anything yet, and so you didn't know it was being butchered at that point, in many ways. And so when you were watching it, you didn't know yet. It was the thing. It was the thing, and it was cool, right? But yeah, it was about a guy who had a blaster, the Nintendo blaster, and yeah, he went on adventures with various video game characters that were popular at the time on the original Nintendo. So cartoon about Nintendo games wrote me in. I internalize all kinds of weird thoughts from that game. Let's see here. I'd wrap a controller and cord around my belt loops. Hell yeah. And run around with a zapper and a power glove. Fuck yeah. My first understanding of robots came from Mega Man being mega tough. And for some reason, I thought since he didn't have feelings, he was able to lift anything. Ooh, that's a big oof, right? It's so many layers, that one. Another big one was Might Max. I think they mean Mighty Max. It was a cartoon to sell Polly Pocket toys to boys. Mighty Max was fucking incredible. Yes, I was also a huge fan of Mighty Max. I forgot about Mighty Max for years now. I actually used to have Mighty Max toys. So yes, they were like Polly Pocket. They brought her back a bunch of times. It's annoying. They brought back Polly Pocket multiple times in different iterations. Mighty Max has never come back, but basically, just for the Zoomers that might not know this. Okay, so there used to be these toys called Polly Pockets, and they were like if you've seen the more modern iterations, they're like little, and then you open them, and there's little people, and in Polly Pocket, they're usually like little homes, and, you know, it's like a lot of cute things and stuff. But, Mighty Max were basically, you know, it was just like a 90s, like, bubblegum chewing. The kid looked like Bazooka Joe or something, right? And, you guys probably don't even know what that is. And so he just had the red backwards cap, you know, the skateboard, like, it's just like, hey man, what's up? You know, like, type character. And he was supposed to resonate with, like, the kids watching it, and he would go on these adventures through these other dimensions or dimension, and he'd be fighting all kinds of, like, monsters and creatures. And a lot of the monsters and stuff were inspired by, like, things from, you know, Universal monsters. So you had Wolfmen and zombies and Dracula and vampires and mutants and all kinds of random shit, right? And so he'd have to, like, you know, he was like the chosen one that had to fight these guys, but he was still like a kid, so he's really irresponsible and made stupid mistakes, and he was headstrong. But anyway, it was cool though, because it would come with like a little head of a monster instead of like a little house. and you'd open up the head, and inside there would be like all these gadgets and nonsense, and they come with these little figures. And you could just play with them. And I remember, yeah, that brings back some memories. I used to sit there. I had a ton of them because it was like one of the few toys that like I just like I told my parents like I need Mighty Max. I need more Mighty Max. I had the big ass castle, and I would just sit there with all there was mini ones and medium ones and big ones, and I would just sit there fucking coming up with all kinds of fucking adventures for Mighty Max. Like, god damn. I would spend hours on those fucking little dudes. Just vividly, just coming up with little plots, stories, adventures, and I can imagine it. I can imagine like my own version of the cartoon playing out. Right? And yeah, so that brings back some memories. It's really interesting. But it had a continuous plot and eventually ends in a really dark way with multiple main characters dying, yeah, and the main character regressing into an endless time loop where he will repeat that existence over and over again, and they never continued the series, so that was amazing. Yeah, I forgot about that grim ending because I think it got canceled, right? So it hit like a really grim point and then it got canceled. That's right. He's still there. Poor Mighty Max. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a show when I was in kindergarten. Everyone had to bring a snack to school, and mine were usually these little mini muffins. They still have those around. Those are pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good. But I wanted those disgusting green stuff-filled turtle pies. Oh, yep, the turtle pies that were sold in stores. So some girl would trade me hers for the muffins, and I wouldn't even eat the pie because it was gross. But you wanted them because they were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies. And you just wanted to poke at them and stare at them. And they had green shit in them. Yeah, they weren't very good. Something that I thought was good was... and you're old like me, Horthus, if you're listening. But it was the Slimer, Ghostbuster Slimer High C. Yes, that was fucking gallons of that shit as a kid. Let's see here. I only had a few VHS tapes growing up. One was Yogi Bear Christmas Special. Another was an episode of Super Mario Brothers cartoon, good one, with Captain Lou Albano. So I had both of those memorized. Sick. Yeah, I had I remember I think I was like, there's something that just popped into my head because you brought. I used to have these two books, and you might know where they are, but I would read these comics over and over and over. It was crazy. I managed to find a version of those comics for the Super Mario ones, but basically there used to be these like comics that they had in these little hardcover books, and one was a Super Mario one, and it had a bunch of, and it had like its own lore and its own little stories, right? And it was like these little comics and from like the late 90s or something. And then there was a Zelda comic, and I think some of these comics, some of them, I also have the I also like the Nintendo Power ones. Those are a little different though. But yeah, I remember those books, and I would read them again and again and again and again. It was crazy. But anyway, I also had some sort of Aesop's Fables VHS tape. I liked Aesop's Fables as a kid. I used to have a book too, and a Bible cartoon where they would visit biblical stories as if they were time traveling to historical events with a robot. This made me really, really believe in religion at first. This is a documentary, dude. They're going back in time for real. And I thought I could trick the devil. So I sold my soul at the age of 9 in exchange for the power to kill God. Fun times. Well, I certainly still hope the deal is good, right? But you're gonna pull a Swain if anybody plays League of Legends. You're gonna trick the demon, trick the devil. That was pretty grandiose. Oh shit! I just fucked up. You know what? I fucked up, but not really, because that's their fault. Because they come in here and outed themselves multiple times. So sorry about that. They've been on here multiple times when I read their shit. So that's the one person that's not gonna give a shit. So don't get worked up, everybody. Trust me. Oh my god. Okay. So, and if anybody knows them, then you'll know they don't give a shit. All right, next one. Dear Angst. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012. They were nice, but I don't think there's anything special in them for me. Okay. All right. I like the honest answers too. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. What do we got here? Dear Angst. Donald Duck. He's pretty cool. I used to like Donald Duck when I was really, really little. Loved watching the classic Donald Duck cartoons as a kid, with classic Looney Tunes a close second, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, mostly. Some years ago, I downloaded all of the old Donald Duck cartoons and watched them, mostly while getting high. Still enjoy them a ton, although the one where his nephews trick him into thinking he's dead was pretty messed up. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, they trick him into thinking he died. Oh shit, I forgot about that one. Oh shit, yeah. That's really funny. One of the Donald Duck cartoons I did like, it was like a huge favorite of mine, was the one where Huey, Dewey, and Louie team up with they team up with a witch to fuck Donald's shit up for being a fucking asshole. That one is like one of my favorites. I love that one because like they're basically like Huey and Dewey Lou show up to Donald's house and they're like, "Hey, trick or treat, whatever," and they got their little costumes and Donald's just a piece of shit to them and just like pranks on them and clowns on them, tells them to GTFO essentially, and they're all fucking butthurt and sad. And a witch shows up and she's like, "What the fuck's wrong with you kids?" And they're like, "Man, our fucking uncle's a piece of shit." And then she's like, "Well, let's go fucking talk to him. Fuck that guy. Let's talk to him." And she tries to reason with Donald, and Donald's just being a fucking asshole. And so she uses her magic to fucking get him wrecked. And it's pretty funny. I usually liked watching Donald get, yeah, see, Horthus doesn't give a shit. Horthus, can I get the, because I'm pretty sure I dropped your name. Pretty fucking sure. I'm gonna forget. I talked to, yeah. So sorry, Orlis. We talk too much. We talk too much. Yeah, I know you don't give a fuck. That's why I'm glad if I fucked it up, it's with you, of all people. What did you say here? Oh man, I had a Zelda book from the old school bookstore. The pages where they were at the shop with all the inventory of bombs and arrows and rupees. Yeah. Was that the comic one? Yeah, oh yeah, good one. Green Ecto Cooler. Yeah, that Slimer drink. Fuck yeah, dude. Dude, I would drink a glass. That shit's still around, I think. Ecto Cooler's still around, isn't it? That's crazy. Okay, so yeah. Let's read this. Oh yeah, the Donald Duck. I got, yeah, getting high and watching. Yeah, I always liked Donald Duck. Because I didn't like Donald Duck. Like Donald Duck was a dick. I liked watching Donald Duck get his shit pushed in by like everybody that he was being a dick to. Because he was usually the thing with the Donald cartoons is he's an asshole. He has a bad temper, and then he gets his comeuppance. Like that's almost always what happens with Donald Duck. So I don't know. It's kind of funny. He's not really supposed to be all that likable. He's just kind of like this, just like angry fucking duck. Unlike Daffy. Daffy was a different story. Daffy was more. Daffy. I feel like I could sympathize with Daffy a bit more. He had like a really like Bugs Bunny gave him like the craziest inferiority complex. But Daffy. Daffy was usually fighting for status within his world, in a variety of ways. And a lot of the times it was also in response to Bugs Bunny being kind of a dickhead. Like, Bugs Bunny was kind of a piece of shit, like, sometimes. But the only problem with Bugs Bunny is he rarely got his comeuppance. It was rare that Bugs Bunny would actually. There was a few episodes where Bugs Bunny gets fucked up, but Shrek green ketchup, I remember that shit. Oh man, I remember the green ketchup. Hey, oh shit, I didn't notice you were here. Hey, Mask Core, did you want to jump in on this? Or are you just doing your thing? Oh, you typed something. Oh, okay. Remember, just in case you weren't here the last time I said this, if anybody ever jumps on here just to listen or whatever, it's perfectly fine. Just if you're gonna drop me like a big old text or something related to the stream, just do it in the chat in the actual stream, because I'll find it faster and catch it faster for next time there. But I'll read it from here. Let me see here. I watched many cartoons, but the two cartoons that I recall having some impact on me are Land Before Time 1 and 2. I fucking really like Land Before Time. Daffy stayed straight freebasing on that battle bus, sucking on glizzies, never going to Ohio. Damn straight. Fucking sucking on fucking Elmer Fudd's glizzy. Bugs is kind of a piece of shit, man. It was rare that he was a good guy. He was just kind of like, somebody would be like, well, I don't know if he was a good guy. He'd usually be a bystander of something. Like, somebody would be kind of a dick to him, and then he would like come after them fucking 10 times harder. Like, that was Bugs. Like, somebody would do some bullshit to him, and he was the opposite of turn the other cheek. He was the most petty motherfucker. Like, he would not let shit go until he like fucked you up. Anyway, so as I was reading, so here, Impact of Land Before 1 and 2, yep, part 1 especially, X-Men 92, yep. Land Before Time is about a dinosaur that loses its parents and is raised by its grandparents. I believe it was Land Before Time 2. I bought it on VHS tape for some reason. The cartoon made me feel sad to the point it made me cry. And I think at this point, I started building my imagining a world around it, with me as a character in it, continuing the story, influencing it as I please. I watched X-Men 92, and it played a big part of influencing my imagination and building an imaginary world around it. That fueled my maladaptive daydreaming. Another cartoon, if I could add to the list, would be Captain Planet. Come on. Yeah, hell yeah. It had some environmental message, like pollution is bad, that stuck with me, even today. Now I realize it may have been anti-capitalist, socialist propaganda. That's somebody on the server said something like, what element do you resonate with more or something? And I think it said like earth, fire, wind, water. And then I commented, you forgot heart. The element of heart. That's the one they missed. Heart! When your powers combine, I am Captain Planet! There was a Captain Planet was funded by Monsanto. No. I don't remember Captain Planet being like, remember everyone, fumigate your crops. I don't remember. There was a Captain Planet episode. I recommend everybody watch it. There was an episode of Captain Planet about AIDS. Yeah, they had an episode about AIDS. It was so fucking bad. You remember the AIDS episode? Like, what the fuck was that show? They were just trying to, like, whatever. Donald Duck is vent art for 9 to 5 wages under capitalism. That's fun. All right, but yeah. There's an episode of Captain Planet where some kid is being bullied at school because he was born with like AIDS. Because like his mom, I'm guessing like it was one of those situations where he was like his mom was sharing needles or some shit happened and he got AIDS from like his mom who had AIDS or HIV, not AIDS. He didn't have full blown AIDS, just HIV, not full blown AIDS. and it was like about like a kid with HIV, and so like people were being mean to him, and Captain Planet had to step up and like protect this kid or something. It was the craziest shit. I wonder if I can. You know what? Let me see if I can find that shit. Just that. Show you guys what I'm talking about. That shit was crazy, bananas. They don't make them like they used to, folks. Sometimes like some of the more like teach you a lesson cartoons, man, they were like hit and miss. And I would watch Captain Planet because I thought like their powers were cool, and I thought like, yeah, fuck the bad guys that want to fuck up the Earth. Fucking leave the Earth alone, ass. And then Captain Planet would show up and fix everything, and he didn't really punch people. He would usually just use like elemental beams and stuff. But yeah, it was Captain Planet 8th episode. Oh man. Can I wonder if yeah, there was an evil, one of the evil guys are riling people up to be like have hatred for AIDS. An AIDS kid with AIDS. And there was also a Captain Pollution, which is the evil Captain Planet. Is it this one? Let me see. Hold on. I'll show the screen of it.
Hey, what's he?
What is this? Is this the right one?
Doing here? He's not.
Yeah, this is the right one. All right. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Sorry, my filter is gonna do the black and white thing, so apologize. Deal with it. All right. Yeah, this is the one right here. Yeah.
Hey, what's he doing here? He's not gonna infect my players. Get him out of here! He's got AIDS!
It's okay, Coach. I don't want to cause trouble.
Stay put, Todd.
This is supposed to be a school, but I think these people need a little education about the HIV virus. May I have your attention, please? A lot of you are worried about AIDS, and there's a rat in your midst who's been spreading lies.
Like a literal rat.
Give him the facts, Coach.
You can't get AIDS from casual contact. Hugging, touching, they're okay. You can use the same water fountain or eat in the same cafeteria. It's safe.
You've been led astray by lies. Todd hasn't changed.
That's right. He's the same kid who played his heart out for you right here on this court last week.
Deal with the real, people. Get the facts. If Todd had any other disease, you'd be cheering him on. Right now, Todd needs your support. The power is yours.
So what are you gonna do? Turn your back on him? Or give him the chance he deserves?
Yeah, that was that one. that meat canyon thumbnail though. Oh no, I'll have to watch that later. Western guy spread eagle. Anyway, yeah, that was the A. There was more to it. It was like a whole thing. But yeah, it was AIDS. And Captain Planet handled it decently. I forgot that they were pretty in your face about it, like as far as like trying to educate people or whatever on the matter. So yeah, let me change this back here. And I think nope, that's not. Oh yeah, that's it. But yep, AIDS. Fucking AIDS. Yeah, Don Cheadle is Captain Planet. Oh, the Don Cheadle Captain Planet. That was later. That was like a skit. And he just starts like murdering people as Captain Planet because he's like turning humans into trees. It was pretty good. I remember that. But yeah, Don Cheadle Captain Planet was fucking great. But yeah, it's just the way he yells like, he's got AIDS. Yeah, just like, because he's like a snake or something. The other dude's like a rat. Oh, Lord. Lord Almighty, why have you forsaken us? But yeah. That's a classic. That's a classic. All right, well, we still got about half an hour of time here, so. But yes, I'm glad you brought up Captain Planet. By the way, also I remember a lot of people were too dumb to know AIDS is not contagious if you share tap water. I didn't even know what sex. Yeah, that was the whole thing. Like when like in the like early '90s and the '80s, like especially yeah, also in the early '90s and stuff. Like it was all about like oh, there's still people thinking like well no, if we're talking like the '80s, talking more, but there were still a lot of people that thought you could get AIDS from like or you can get the HIV virus from like sharing water fountains, hugging, sweat, like literally just like touching somebody that was sweaty that had HIV, would like you could get it. You have to like run, wash your hands, shit like that. That was and by then a lot of people already there was already a lot of information saying otherwise, but man, those fears are hard to kill. Those lasted a while. I don't think Fauci invented AIDS. he made COVID and AIDS. I don't know. Did he make polio too? He got in a time machine and created polio as well. Yeah, freakazoid. Dun, 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 dun. Freakazoid. Dun, 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 dun. Freak of you, freak of me. Yeah, chimpanzee. Fauci called it the gay virus. Oh man, good times. good times. Did he really? Is that something he called when he was younger, a lot younger? He called it the gay virus. Oh man. Go a few more years back and being gay was a mental disorder. Used to be in the DSM and shit. Oh, so crazy, man. It's hard for me to take a lot of the institutions seriously when it comes to certain things. When you look back at some of the shit they thought was true, it was fucking bananas. Bananas. Well, I feel like I've said my piece on this matter of cartoons. I don't know. I feel like I'd just be wasting everyone's time if I just start waxing nostalgic about dumb cartoons. Well, just not dumb, but like silly cartoon shit, like the AIDS episode. There was a lot of episodes in various cartoons that like attempted to have some kind of message. And by the way, is anyone here old enough to know what I'm referring to when I go message? What movie that is? Powerpuff Girls was amazing. Yes, that was a very good one. Very well written, very cool. And that brings back Samurai Jack. So, guess who? Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack? Yeah. Samurai Jack was god tier cartoon. I think it was also by McCracken, or I think it was the Powerpuff people, right? Did the Samurai Jack as well? I'm not entirely sure. I might be fucking shit up. Oh no, I think it was that other dude. Never mind, I'm mixing shit up hard. Yeah. I remember. Dexter's Laboratory, not to be confused with the later Dexter serial killer cartoon. PPG were legit violent. I love it. PPG. Oh, Powerpuff Girls? Yeah. They were just fuck shit up. Yeah. Yeah, the Powerpuff Girls didn't like diplomacy at all. Like they were just like, can we beat it up? The new one sucks. The new Powerpuff Girls is absolute fucking ass. Oh my god. And they have them making all those stupid faces, and they're not even adorable anymore. Like what made them cute was that they were like prone to violence because they didn't know any better, because anytime they punched stuff, the bad thing went away. So that's all they knew. And there were episodes where they kind of learned some lessons, but usually they weren't too deep. Yeah, Powerpuff the Boys. Do you remember the one episode where there were Powerpuff Boys? Do you remember what they were called? Does anyone remember what the power? They weren't called the Powerpuff Boys, but they were like bad, and then It was like the Rowdy Rough Boys, if I remember correctly. There was an episode where they had to fight their kind of male equivalent that were like, mischievous and not very nice. And I think they were called the Rowdy Rough Boys. Pretty sure. And then in Powerpuff Girls, you had Miss, what's her face? You would never see her face. They always like insinuated that the mayor was like, well, they didn't say he was hooking up with her, but Miss Bellum. But it was always like these weird, like stuff you would normally assume about like a mayor sleeping with like their secretary. They would have jokes like that, but they would always be like, it's kind of like, it reminds me of, if anybody ever saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it reminds me of that when he sees her playing patty cake with someone else. It's like that. Like, we understand what it's trying to be, but like they would, like, if they did do anything, it would usually be something really kind of like innocent but kind of ridiculous, like something you would do like at a slumber party or something. Like they would, I don't know if this happened, but like they would walk in on Miss Bellum and the mayor, and they'd be like having like a pillow fight or something, like literally just a pillow fight, and they'd be like, oh, they'd be like caught and embarrassed that they were having a pillow fight, that kind of shit. There's just goofy shit like that. I love that they made a 5th season for Samurai. Yeah, it was really good too, and they knew the audience got older because that one was a lot more violent. That 2018 season, they went like they went pretty ham on the violence because they knew like that it wasn't a kids watching it. Like the people that were gonna watch that 2018 season are like way older now, and you get to see Samurai Jack actually kill somebody. I think that's the episode. That's the only time he kills someone. And they made a big deal because he wasn't the type to kill people, but they pushed him and he didn't have a choice. It was like kill or be killed. And I remember he killed somebody in that. If anybody, the 2018 season. And he wasn't happy about that, I'm sure. They made sure to show how shocked and uncomfortable he was with that, because I think he thought he was fighting robots, because he usually fights robots and shit. And I think it was an accidental kill. I don't remember, but yeah, cartoons, guys. See, to me, it's kind of crazy that like there has to be something there for some of us, because I feel like if I went up to a lot of schizoids and they had these favorite cartoons or games or something that like really resonated with them when they were little, I feel like if I asked them about like, oh, what's your nicest memory with mom and dad, or what's your fondest memory of elementary school, and like all this sort of stuff, like I feel like that's a lot harder. It's going to be a lot harder for a schizoid to like access than like, hey, what was your favorite, insert piece of media, and can you name a few things about it that were cool? And like I feel like memories about that might come pouring in a lot easier. He killed robots mostly. LOL. Yeah, he did. I mean, yeah, he was like basically fighting robots like 90% of the time. It was just like robots and machines. Because it was on Cartoon Network, so they couldn't have him just like cutting off people's heads and shit. So the enemies were always like robots and stuff. And sometimes they were monsters. Yeah, I think he did kill monsters. Like, it was never like humanoids. He wasn't like cutting down humanoids. But but yeah, that was anyway. I want to get back into that. Silver Degen. I don't remember anything about my past except cartoons and video games. Yeah, exactly. Like if you ask me like, oh, what do you remember about your teenage years? My answer would be a lot of darkness and angst and Final Fantasy VIII and everything about it, and Dragon Ball Z and Cowboy Bebop and early Adult Swim, Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Like that's what I remember. And before that, well, what about when you were little? Bugs Bunny's Birthday Bash and Goemon on N64 and Goemon on Super Nintendo. The Goemon Ninja, Mystical Adventures, Ninja Mystical Adventures. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Like I could name like the order of the levels, and I could probably still pick up a control and do like remember a lot of the. It would have to like jog in, but like remember a lot of the ways to get around the levels and beat the bosses. But if you're like, oh, okay, well, tell me about some, core memory about you and your sister, I just draw a blank. I'm like, And then the only ones I can remember are the times we did something that was within my special interest with her. And then I go, oh yeah, I remember that. I played this with her. That was cool. And that's about it. You can remember a lot of things, but you don't want to. Nah, I know. Well, hopefully you can remember the things that were cool, not just the things you don't want to remember. Orthus. Yeah, I feel like I can remember a lot of things, but I'm pretty disassociated from most of it. Like, even the bad stuff. I'm not anymore, because I've recovered stuff. Which is good and bad. Because now traumatic shit is actually traumatic. Traumatic memories are actually traumatic. I don't know if you were here on Tuesday. I think it was on Tuesday when I brought up what was essentially a pretty traumatic memory that I forgot about. And because it's been on the back burner, and then I remembered it, I think on Tuesday. And then because I'm like more in tune with stuff now after working on it, I'm trying to be the schizoid recovery example, guys, for you guys too. But yeah, that shit hurt like a motherfucker thinking about it. I did not feel okay for a while. So much so that I had to like distract myself immediately because I couldn't handle it. It was making me feel really, really bad. But I don't. Were you here Tuesday, Horthus, when I talked about what it was that happened? If you didn't hear it, I actually wouldn't mind sharing that one if you're there, Horthus. Maybe after the stream or something. But I'd rather not talk about it on stream again. But it was, yeah. Trust me, I think this one would like vibe with you. I think this one will hit you because of the context. You'd be like, "Damn, that sucks. It's fucked." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's weird to feel it though." It wasn't something necessarily that happened to me, but kind of it. I don't know. Anyway, guys, if you're curious about what that was, I talked about it last Tuesday. So watch that, because I don't want to talk about it on this stream again. But in any case, I think I'm done here, guys. Covered it. No one else is jumping on, really talking. Think school general is abuse. Yeah. So it can be some days. But yeah, anyway, talk later. And all right, peace. And as usual, oh yeah, also if you like the streams, please support me on Patreon. Please support me on PayPal. Please support me donation wise on that stuff. All that money just goes to like paying for basic things that I need to pay for, and including currently stuff to try to build up the NPO thing, and just to pay for the services and the bullshit that I have to pay for to like do this stuff and deal with it. I'm like boosting the server, a bunch of other shit, paying for extra stream capacity and blah blah blah. Anyway, all right. Oh, hold on a second. Sorry, my little one was going to bed. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. And as usual, when day's dark, always remember happy days. And let me see if I'll play us out with some more cartoons, some more cartoon intro music. Okay, guys. I'll play some out and then go on and skedaddle.
now, the nations of the world, brought to you by Yakko Warner.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, and Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Tobago, San Juan, Paraguay, Uruguay, Suriname, and French Guiana, Barbados, and Guam. Norway and Sweden and Iceland and Finland and Germany now one piece. Switzerland, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Italy, Turkey and Greece. Poland, Romania, Scotland, Albania, Ireland, Russia, Oman. Bulgaria, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, Cyprus, Iraq and Iran. There's Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, both Yemen, Kuwait and Bahrain. The Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium and Portugal, France, England, Denmark and Spain. India, Pakistan, Burma, Afghanistan, Thailand, Nepal, and Bhutan, Cambodia, Malaysia, then Bangladesh, Asia, and China, Korea, Japan, Mongolia, Laos, and Tibet, Indonesia, the Philippine Islands, Taiwan, Sri Lanka, New Guinea, Sumatra, New Zealand, and Borneo, and Vietnam, Tunisia, Morocco, Uganda, Angola, Zimbabwe, Djibouti, Botswana, Mozambique, Zambia, Swaziland, Gambia, Guinea, Algeria, Ghana. Burundi, Lesotho, and Malawi, Togo, the Spanish Sahara is gone. Niger, Nigeria, Chad and Liberia, Egypt, Benin and Gabon, Tanzania, Somalia, Kenya and Mali, Sierra Leone and Algeria, Dahomey, Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Congo, Zaire, Ethiopia, Guinea-Bissau, Madagascar, Rwanda, Myanmar, and Cayman, Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Yugoslavia, Crete, Mauritania, then Transylvania, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Malta, and Palestine, Fiji, Australia.